Hello, hello students. I am Professor Dash. Today's topic is pulse modulation technique. Generally, in modern communications, most of the information's data is digital form, such as binary data used in computer programs and the codes for alphanumeric characters. Moreover, we can say that analog informations, including voice and video signals, are also transmitted using the digital transmission technique. And the evolution form and from analog to digital transmission is the conversions of analog information to digital representation using sample theorems for both bandpass and uh, baseband signals. Pulse modulation techniques such as PAM, that is pulse amplitude modulation, pulse width modulation, that is PWM, pulse position modulation, that is PPM, pulse code modulation, that is PCM, delta modulation. This is the basically baseband digital signals which are used for transmitting discrete signals. So today first topic is pulse modulation technique. Okay. Generally an analog signal can be transmitted using digital processing techniques depending upon the nature of transmitting media. What are the media? One is analog communication channel and second one is digital communication channel. Here this is the transmission of analog signals over analog communication channel. So here we can see that first there is a analog information signal source, it may be audio, video, whatever. Then there is a to D conversions, analog to digital conversions and encoding. After that there is a modem, and then the channel which is the analog communication channel. This is the transmission part, and this is the receiver section. In receiver section there is also a modem, decoding and D2A conversion, that is digital to analog conversion because the original signal is analog form, and finally this is the analog signal destination. Now there is a term that is modem. What is modem? Basically, the function of modulation and demodulation is performed by a device known as modem. So we can say that modem is modulator plus demodulator both. It may be noted that modem can be used to interface digital data source to analog channel and analog channel to digital data destinations. So this is the main function of modem. Now this block diagram indicates the transmission of analog signal over digital communication channel. What is this? First, similarly, there is analog information signal source. After that, A to D conversions and encoding, and uh, there is the digital communication channel. Uh, Here, it is not necessary to use modem as the channel or media is digital. After that, at the receiver section, there is decoding and D2A conversions, and finally analog signal destination. These are the two channels transmissions of analog signal over analog communication channel and transmission of analog signal over digital communication channel. Now come to pulse modulation. Okay, basically in pulse modulations, before that we know AM, FM, PM, those are the examples of analog modulation. And in case of analog modulation, we know that we need two input signal. One is modulating signal, another one is carrier signal, and both modulating and carrier signal are analog. Uh, Examples AM, FM, PM, etc. In case of pulse modulation, similarly, we need two input signal. One is modulating, another one is carrier. Here, modulating signal is analog, but the carrier signal is digital. Again, I repeat, in case of analog modulation, both carrier and modulating signal are analog, but in case of pulse modulation, the modulating signal is analog, but the carrier signal is digital. Example, PAM, pulse amplitude modulation, PWM, pulse width modulation, PPM, pulse position modulation, like this. So, first of all, what is the definition of pulse modulation? We can say that this is the definition. So we can say that when any one characteristic like amplitude, width, position, whatever of a higher frequency carrier signal is changed with respect to the amplitude of the analog modulating signal, it is called the pulse modulation. Again, I repeat, when any one characteristic like amplitude, width, position of a higher frequency carrier signal is changed with respect to the amplitude of the analog modulating signal, it is called the pulse modulation. So we can say that pulse modulation essentially consists of sampling analog information data at regular intervals and then converting those samples into discrete pulses. And these pulses can be transmitted from a source to destination over a communication channel. Okay, so this is the main concept for pulse modulation, and it is different from analog modulation. Why? Because here the carrier signal is pulse, but in case of analog modulation, the here the carrier signal is digital form, and in case of analog modulation, the carrier signal is analog form. So this is a basic difference. Now, classification of pulse modulation. Normally, the pulse modulation system is divided into two sections. One is analog pulse modulation, another one is digital pulse modulation. And in case of analog pulse modulation, it is divided in two parts. One is PAM, that is pulse amplitude modulation. Another one is PTM, that is pulse time modulation. And PTM is also divided in two parts. One is PWM, another one is PPM. PWM means pulse width modulation, PPM means pulse position modulation. It is just like the angle modulation. We divide angle modulation in frequency modulation and phase modulation. Similarly, here the pulse time modulation is divided into two parts: pulse width modulation, pulse position modulation. Now come to the second part, that is the digital pulse modulation. It is divided in three sections. One is PCM, one is PCM. PCM means pulse code modulation, whose update version is the DPCM, that is differential pulse code modulation. And second one is DM means delta modulation, whose update versions is the ADM, adaptive delta modulation. And third one is the CVSDM. CVSDM means continuous variable slope delta modulation. Continuous variable slope delta modulation. So these are the different types of pulse modulation system. Today we will discuss this analog pulse modulation system, that is PAM, PWM and PPM. Okay. So first come to the pulse amplitude modulation. What is pulse amplitude modulation? When the amplitude of a higher frequency carrier signal is changed with respect to the amplitude of the analog modulating signal, it is called the pulse amplitude modulation. Again, I repeat, when the amplitude of the relatively higher frequency carrier signal is changed with respect to the amplitude of the analog modulating signal, it is called the pulse amplitude modulations. Okay, now come to the waveforms or the PAM technique. Here it is a analog signal. This is the modulating signal, we can say that, and this is the carrier signal, which is a pulse form or digital form. Here all the digital bits width must be same and the height must be same. And now this is the PAM signal pulse amplitude modulation. You can see that the pattern is like the amplitude of this modulating signal. Like the amplitude of the modulating signal, this pattern is like that. But here the uh, bits are digital. It is the carrier signal. This is the carrier signal, but the height or wave pattern of this carrier signal is like the amplitude of the modulating signal. So this is called the uh, pulse amplitude modulation waveform. And in this waveform, we can see that the amplitude of the pulses of carrier pulse sequence is varied in accordance with the amplitude of the modulating signal, and it is called the single polarity because in single polarity PAM, a fixed DC label is added to the information analog signal, which ensures that the pulses are always positive. Here we can see that the pulses are always positive. But here we can say that it is double polarity PAM. It is double polarity PAM because here it's true that amplitude of pulses of carrier pulse sequence is varied in accordance with the amplitude of the modulating signal, but in double polarity PAM, the sample pulse are positive when the information analog signals are has positive amplitude, and it is negative when the information analog signal has negative amplitude. We can see that when it is positive, here the polarity is positive, but when the modulating signal polarity is negative, the PAM signal's polarity is negative. So it is called the double polarity. Now come to next point, method of sampling. Okay. Basically, there are three methods we use. One is ideal sampling, that is an impulse at each sampling instant. Second one is natural sampling, a pulse of short width with varying amplitude. And third one is flat top sampling, sample and hold, like natural sampling but with fixed amplitude value. This is the flat top sampling. In each case, the sampling rate must be at least twice the highest frequency content in the analog signal according to the Nyquist criteria. Again, I repeat, in each case, the sampling rate must be at least twice the highest frequency content in the analog signal according to the Nyquist criteria. So this is the ideal sampling. We can see that this is pattern of the analog signal, and this is the sampled pulse with the time interval which is denoted by TS. So in ideal sampling, the analog signal is sampled by a train of impulses at uniform intervals like TS, and an impulse is generated at each instant of sampling. So this is the ideal sampling. Next one is the natural sampling. Here we can see that the pulse pattern is like the analog form. Here we can see the curve of the pulses. It's like the analog form. And we can say that natural sampling refers to PAM signals when tops of the sample pulse retain their natural shape during the sample intervals. You can see in the waveform the top of the impulse are like the analog waveforms shape. In natural sampling, analog signal is sampled by a train of pulses having finite short pulse width occurring at uniform intervals. The amplitude of each rectangular pulse follows the value of the analog information signal for duration of the pulse. So this is the natural sampling, but there is a small disadvantage of natural sampling, that is it is difficult for an analog to digital converter to convert the natural sample to a digital code, and the output of the analog to digital converter would continuously try to follow the changes in the amplitude levels and may never stabilize on any code, because here the curvatures is not fixed, it is like the pattern of the analog signal, so it is little bit difficult, uh, or we can say it is a disadvantage of natural sampling. Now come to the next point, that is the flat top sampling. We can see the difference here. The tops are like the analog form, but here the pulses tops are flat. You can notice the if you can notice the waveforms, you can identify the difference. Here the flats here the tops are like the analog signal pattern, and here the tops are flat. So it is called the flat top sampling. Basically, flat top sampling refers to PAM signals when the tops of the sample pulse remains constant during the sample interval. And in flat top sampling, the analog signal is sampled by a train of pulses having finite short pulse width occurring at uniform intervals, which is defined as a TS, and the amplitude of each rectangular pulse is retained as the value of the analog information signal at the leading edge of the pulse. But again, there is some disadvantage for flat top sampling. First of all, the use of flat top PAM samples results into amplitude distortions, because here you can see that the amplitude is like this one, but we get this type of pattern. Suppose this one, the amplitude is this one, but we get this type of pattern, or the amplitude is this one, but we get this type of pattern. So the original amplitude and the PAM amplitude are little bit different, so it is a disadvantage. Or the second disadvantage is there is a delay by uh, TB by 2, where TB is the width of the pulse, that result into uh, some distortions for during the transmission. So, and it is a disadvantage, we can say this is a disadvantage. Another disadvantage is at the receiver section, amplitude distortion as well as delay cause error in decoding data. So these are the disadvantage of flat top sampling. Okay, now aperture effect. What is aperture effect? In flat top PAM, the high frequency contents of the analog signals are lost, which result into distortion known as the aperture effect. The aperture effect occurs in flat top sampling. It is due to the presence of finite pulse width at the instance of sampling in pulse amplitude modulator signal. In fact, the sampling process in flat top sampling introduce aperture error because amplitude of analog signal changes during the sample pulse width. So we should know how aperture effect be compensate of PAM receiver. First of all, this distortion due to aperture effect can be minimized by passing the demodulated signal through an equalizer. Second, the equalizer has the effect of compensating for the aperture effect. Third, the amount of the equalization required in practical application is usually small. So basically we can say that using the compensating using the equalizer, we can compensate this aperture effect. Okay, now generation of PAM. This is the basic block diagram of generation of PAM. Here I write here the analog information signal, which is the input, then low pass filter, after that sampling circuit. Here another input of the sampling circuit is the pulse sequence generator, and finally we'll get the PAM signal. So here the an analog information signal is passed through a low pass filter which removes any high frequency components present in it. After that, the sampling circuit also receives a train of pulse from pulse sequence generator. Here the wave shows that a pulse train of pulse, and after that the output from the sampling circuit we get the pulse amplitude modulated signal. And in demodulation circuit we can see that there we use a ideal low pass filter for demodulation. At the receiver section, the original analog information signal can be recovered using a low pass filter. It is also called the reconstructed filter, and the resultant output waveform is very close to the original signal waveform. This is the demodulation block diagram, and this is the modulation block diagram for PAM signals. And this is the mathematical analysis of reconstruction of PAM signal. We can define this signal using these expressions. Now come to the next point, that is sample and hold circuit for signal recovery. So this is the basic block. We use a amplifier whose characteristic is the gain is unity and low impedance. After that we use a electronic switch, and across to the capacitor uh, we get the output. So in normally in natural sampling or flat earth sampling, the spectrum of the sample signal is scaled by TB by TS. We know what is TB and what is TS. Basically, TB is the duration of the sampling pulse and TS is the sampling period. And typically, this TB by TS ratio is very small. A simple sample and hold circuit is used for signal reconstruction. And here we can see the circuit. Basically this is the circuit, and sample and hold circuit generally comprises of an amplifier whose characteristic is gain is unity with low output impedance, an electronic switch and a capacitor with an assumption that the load impedance is large is used in this circuit. The electronic switch is timed precisely to close only for the small duration TB of each sampling pulse. Again, I repeat, the electronic switch is timed precisely to close only for the time duration TB of each sampling pulse. And during this interval, the capacitor rapidly charges up to a voltage level equal to that of the input sample, and when the switch is open the capacitor retains its voltage level until the next closure of the switch happens. In this way we can get or we can recover the original signal. So this is the sample and hold circuit for signal recovery. Now advantage and disadvantage of PAM signals. Similarly, there is some advantage as well as some disadvantage. What are this? PAM is very simple to generate or detect. We can see in the circuit that only we use the sampling circuit, a pulse generator and a low pass filter in the generation circuit, and we use a low pass filter in the demodulation circuit. So we can say that it's very simple to generate and detect. Next, due to variation of the amplitude of PAM signal, peak transmitted power does not remain constant. It's a disadvantage, we can say. Next, the effect of the additive white Gaussian noise on PAM signal is maximum because the amplitude variations of the PAM pulse represent the information too. Next, transmission bandwidth requires for a PAM signal is quite large as compared to the highest frequency component present in the input analog information signal. So these are the advantage as well as the disadvantage of the PAM signal. One thing I would like to share that multiplexing of several PAM signals is possible because various signals are kept distinct and are separately can be recovered because they are sampled at different times. Like time division multiplexing system use the PAM system, so it is very useful, we can say. Okay. Now the next part, which is the pulse width modulation. So first, what is pulse width modulation? Basically, when the width of the higher frequency carrier signal is changed according to the amplitude of the analog modulating signal, it is called the pulse width modulation. Again, I repeat, when the width of the higher frequency carrier signal is changed according to the amplitude of the analog modulating signal, it is called the pulse width modulation, and the amplitude of the pulse remains constant and does not carry any information. The PWM or pulse width modulation provides better noise immunity and allow use of amplitude limiters. It is also known as the pulse duration modulation, PDM, duration modulation. And here we can see the waveforms of pulse width modulation. We can see that this is the modulating signal, this is the carrier signal, digital wave or pulse, and this is the PWM. This is the PWM. Here we can see that when the amplitude is positive and highest peak, the width of the pulse is highest. Okay, here the amplitude is 0. So here at this position the pulse width is like the carrier pulse. Similarly here the amplitude is again 0. So the width of the pulse is like the carrier pulse. After that, at this position, suppose the amplitude is negative and we can and so for this portion the width of the pulse is minimum because the amplitude is their minimum or lowest at this point. So the amplitude width of the pulse is minimum. So we can say that when the amplitude is highest, the pulse width is highest. When the amplitude is lowest, the pulse width is lowest. When the amplitude is 0, we'll get the width like the carrier pulse. So in this way, you can draw the PWM signals or PWM wave. In pulse width modulation, the information signals modulates the width of the pulse signal according to the instantaneous value while keeping the amplitude and positions of the pulse constant. The larger the sample value, the wider the corresponding pulse and vice versa. What I already said, when we get the highest peak, we'll get the highest width. When we get the lowest peak, we'll get the lowest width. In this pattern, we'll get the PWM wave. And PWM is a non-linear form of modulation as compared to PAM, which is linear form of modulation. If the information signal is slowly varying, that is sampled at the first rate compared to the Nyquist rate, then the adjacent pulse have almost the same width. Okay. So similarly, there must some advantage as well as some disadvantage. What is this? Advantages are it is easy to detect, it is very good noise immunity, there is no need of synchronization. These are the advantages. And disadvantages are the signal power varies due to variable pulse width. In the output, we can see that the width of every pulse is changed. So the signal power always vary. And the transmission bandwidth required for a PWM signal is larger than the PAM. And due to the randomness of the width, it is not suitable for time division multiplexing. Uh, so these are the disadvantages of PWM. Okay. Now the generations of PWM. So it is the circuit for PWM. Here we use a comparator, sawtooth signal generator, and we will get the PWM output. So here we can say that the information signal is applied to the non-inverting terminal of the comparator device, where we can use the comparator which IC is 710. Then a shorter signal operating at the carrier frequency is applied to the inverting terminal. Here we can see this. Uh, we use it in the inverting terminals of the comparator. And the maximum amplitude level of the information signal should be less than the shortwave signal. Keep it in mind that the maximum amplitude level of the information signal should be less than that of the shortwave signal. Now, how the output comes? When the shortwave signal is at its minimum level, the non-inverting input of the comparator is at higher level, and the output of the comparator is positive. Again I repeat, when shortwave signal is its minimum level, the non-inverting input of the comparator is at higher level and the output of the comparator is positive. When the shortwave signal rises with a constant slope and cross the input signal level, the inverting input of the comparator is at higher level and the output of the comparator will be negative. Therefore, the durations of the width of the output pulse generated, for which the output of the comparator remains high, it is depends on amplitude of the information signal. So this is, we use only these two block to generate the PWM signal. And for, we can say that for demodulation of PWM, we just use a low pass filter. In the principle of operation of demodulation of PWM signal can be simply described by uh, followed by a averaging low pass filter. So like already in case of PM, we see that in demodulation we use only a low pass filter. Similarly here in demodulation section we use only a low pass filter and we can recover the original signal. Now, the transmission bandwidth of PAM signal. Basically, the transmission bandwidth of PAM signal is defined like in this pattern, that is greater than equals to 1 by 2 TR. TR is the rise time in second, which should be very much smaller than the time period of the sawtooth signal. So, this is the transmission bandwidth. Now come to the third one, that is the pulse position modulation, PPM. What is PPM? When the position of the higher frequency carrier signal is changed according to the amplitude of the analog modulating signal, it is the pulse position modulation. Again I repeat, when the positions of the higher frequency carrier signal is changed according to the amplitude of the modulating signal, it is called the pulse position modulation. In PPM, the position of the pulses which is changed with respect to the position of reference pulse, and the amplitude and width of the pulse remains unchanged and does not carry any information. And PPM provides better noise immunity and allow use of amplitude limiters. So it is the waveform of the PPM technique. Here, this is the analog signal and this is the carrier signal. All the width of the pulse must be same. Here you can see that when it is zero, the pulse is like the carrier signal. After that, the amplitude is increasing, so this pulse is just shifted in right hand side. So here you can see that suppose this dotted line shows the middle part of the pulse, and here you can see that here it is the middle part, this dotted line, but here it is little bit shifted towards the right hand side. Okay, now here and the amplitude is highest, so here this pulse is totally shifted from this middle line. You can see that it is totally shifted to the right hand side. Okay, now again from this part, this portion highest is little bit lesser than this position, so again this pulse is shifted towards left hand side. Now here the amplitude is 0, this part, so here the pulse is similar to the carrier pulse. Now here the amplitude is minimum from this, basically the amplitude is decreasing, so the pulse is shifted towards left hand side, so it is shifted towards left hand side. You can see that the dotted line is here, so it shifted towards left hand side, and this portion is the lowest peak, so the pulse is totally shifted to the left hand side. So here you can see that the dotted line is the in this portion, and it is shifted to the left hand side. So we can see that when it is 0, the pulse are like the carrier pulse. When it is a positive amplitude and increasing order, the pulses are shifted towards the right hand side, and as it is the highest peak, so the pulse is totally shifted. Again it is 0, so the pulse is like the carrier signal. And similarly here, when the pulse is decreasing order or negative side, the pulses are shifted towards the left hand side, and here it is the lowest peak, so the pulse is shifted towards the left hand side. So this is the ppm technique, that is the pulse position modulation technique. Similarly, here there are some advantage as well as some disadvantage. Advantages are, it is easy to detect because here similarly we use only a low pass filter. It has very good noise immunity, and power is constant because the amplitude or width is fixed. In PWM only the position is changed. And disadvantages, it ppm signals do need synchronization. The transmission bandwidth required for a ppm signal is also quite large. The randomness in position in ppm do not make it suitable for time division multiplexing. So these are the disadvantages. Now come to the generation of ppm. This is the circuit for generation of ppm. What we use, inverter, differentiator, and a pulse generator with positive edge trigger, and after that we will get the ppm signal. So first of all, the PWM signal is applied to a inverter. Basically, the simplest method to generating the PPM signal is from the PWM signal, we can say. And the relationship between the PPM and PWM can be seen from the fact that while the position of the pulse varies in PPM, the location of the trailing edge of the pulse varies in PWM. So we can see in this block diagram that the input signal is the PWM, because from the PWM signal we can get the PPM signal. And the PWM signal is first applied to an inverter which reverse polarity of the input pulse signal. After that, the output of the inverter is then applied to a differentiator circuit. When the PWM signal input makes a transition from high to low, the output of the differentiator consists of positive spike. And when the PWM signal inputs make transition from low to high, the output of the differentiator consists of negative spike. And these spikes are fed to the positive edge trigger pulse generator, which has the positive edge trigger. and these pulses of fixed width are generated when the positive spike appears at its input. The occurrence of falling edge of PWM signal are proportional to the amplitude of the original information signal, we can say, and therefore the delay in occurrence of these fixed width pulses are proportional to the amplitude of the input information signal at that instant. And finally, the output is the PPM signal, where positions of the pulse carry original information signal. So this is the generations of the PPM, pulse position modulation. And similarly, in demodulation circuit, sorry, I say one wrong thing in advantage section. Say that we use a low pass filter, but sorry, we use generally transistor and RC combinations for a demodulator circuit. We use a filter, of course. uh, so we can say that at a PPM demodulator circuit we use a transistor and RC combinations for RAM generating and a filter. In case of PAM, PWM, we use only a low pass filter, but here we use a transistor and RC combinations and filter also. And after that, we can get the original signal from the demodulation circuit. Okay, so this is the generation and the demodulation circuit of PPM, pulse position modulation. Now there is a comparison table for PAM, PWM and PPM. So first, in case of PAM, the amplitude is changed. PWM, the width is changed. PPM, the position is changed. Next, transmission bandwidth depends on the width of pulse in case of PAM, depends on rise time of pulse in PWM, depends on rise time of the pulse in PPM. Then instantaneous time transmission power, in case of PAM it is variable, in PWM it is also variable, in PPM it is constant because the width and or amplitude is fixed in case of PPM. Next, noise immunity. PAM is very less, PWM quite high, PPM quite high. And last one, analogy with analog modulation. Basically, PAM is like the amplitude modulation, PWM it is like the frequency modulation, PPM it's like the phase modulation. So this is the comparison table of PAM, PWM and PPM. So today we learn the pulse modulation technique. Here we use two signals, input signals. One is analog signal, another one is digital signal. The modulating signal is analog and the carrier signal is digital. It is divided into two parts: PAM, PPM, PWM. Pulse amplitude modulation, pulse width modulation, pulse position modulation. Then we know the uh, we can learn the generation technique, demodulation technique of each of the modulation PAM, PWM, PPM, and disadvantage, advantage. So this is the uh, gist of the pulse modulation technique. Thank you.